Hey everyone, welcome back. Last episode, we set up the project, canvas, game loop, delta time, mouse input, and so on. Today, we are adding something we are going to use constantly from here and out, a vector to the class. If you've done any kind of game dev or physics stuff before, you know how often you need to add two positions together, subtract them, get a length, normalize, etc. We're going to be doing that all the time, so instead of chucking raw x and y values everywhere, we'll wrap them in the proper class. And here's the new file, the vector.js2.js file. This is just a simple class with a constructor. The constructor takes a x and y and stores them, and we've got a static zero method that gives you a fresh 0, 0 vector whenever you need one. We will use that a lot for initialization, things like velocity and acceleration later. Then we have some instance methods. Length gives you the magnitude of the vector. This is just a Pythagorean theorem. I don't know if I pronounced this right. Then we have a normalize function that scales the vector down, so its length becomes 1. But it keeps the same direction. You use normalized vectors when you care about direction, but not the magnitude, like when you want to know which way something is pointing without caring how far away it is actually. Then we have a get normal function. This returns a vector that is perpendicular to this one. We swap x and y and negate one of them. That gives you a 90-degree rotation. The dot product multiplies the components and adds them up. It tells you how much two vectors point in the same direction. And yeah, we won't use that right away. And then we have a log function. This is just a helper for debugging. It prints you the vector in the console. Yeah, and then we have some other free function, add, sub, and scale. Since JavaScript doesn't support using the plus and minus sign directly, like in C# or C++, we have to add like those kind of functions with add, sub, and scale. So these three functions, not methods of the class, are not methods of the class. Add takes two vectors and returns a new one with the components added, right? Sub subtracts and scale multiplies both components by number. Yeah, the reason these are free function and not instance methods is because they always return a vector. They don't modify the originals. When we're doing physics calculation, we'll be chaining these together a lot and having them as standalone functions keep the syntax readable. I had in the past, I encountered them in, well, I had a lot of problems because when you have them in the class and you return that class as a new vector or as the vector, you get reference problems. So if you change anything, the whole simulation can have false values. Yeah, and that's why I return always a new vector after a subtraction, adding, or scaling. And I think this is everything for the vector class. To use this new class, we need to load our new file. So we add a script tag for vector.js in the main HTML file. And now the mouse move listener wraps the position in the vector2 instead of passing raw numbers. And before we are calling background on mouse move with two separate arguments. Now we pass a single vector2. This is cleaner because everywhere in the code we can treat positions now as one thing instead of two separate numbers. And then also we have to update the background.js file. The on-mouse move handler now takes a single single position parameter, which is a vector, and calls log on it. So when you move when you move the mouse, you see something like vector2 some position in the console. Small change, but it confirms our vector2 is working and flowing through the system. So what changed? What would we do? We added a vector2 class with length, normalized, dot product, and perpendicular normal. We added three functions for add, sub, free, and scale that return new vectors without mutating anything, and we updated the mouse input pipeline to use vector2 instead of raw x and y. Currently, nothing is happening in our simulation file, but this will change in the next couple of episodes. What's coming next? In the next episode, we are going to build a draw utils class. Right now, our drawing code is just raw canvas calls, which gets repetitive fast. We will make helper methods for drawing points, lines, rectangles, and so on. Also text, which all will use vector 2 position. And that way we can start drawing mask points, constraints, and we don't have to write the same CDX begin path and so on boilerplate over and over again. So, thank you very much for watching and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.